Greetings, everybody. It's Leah B. from Prestige Veteran Medical Consulting. I am a U.S. Army veteran, physician assistant, and former compensation and pension examiner. Today, I have my good friend Garren Cone on from AVET Project and AVET Appeals, who is an accredited claims agent and an amazing legal advocate for veterans, and is going to discuss some options veterans have when they get bad decisions or things that they think need a second look in their appeals process. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Garren. And Garren, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and about AVET Appeals?
Well, hi, Leah, and everybody out there in Prestige Veterans Land. Yes, my name is Garren Cone. I'm an Air Force veteran. I served and got injured during the Grenada conflict. And after that, I went back to school and became an advocate, a non-attorney practitioner for veterans. Did that for, well, I'm still doing it, about 30 years. And while I do only take select applicants now, and they all have to be appellants, people that have had a decision denied and they're seeking redress, we do what we can to help them, even if it's just guiding somebody in the right direction. That's why it's so important, everybody out there, to get this information that Leah is providing through her Prestige Veterans site and spread it around. The only way we're going to help one another is to absorb this information and then get it out to those that we think may benefit from it. The Appeals Modernization Act, as you're aware, Leah, has some real upside to it. The legacy process, which is what they're saying any appeal prior to, I think it was February of 2019, had some issues as well, particularly timeliness. But the new one, because that's what we're dealing with, if you didn't have an appeal prior to 2019, then you're dealing with the AMA. And there's 3 different lanes that you can go into, and then it kind of subdivides from there. And as I said, Leah and her company, Prestige Veterans, can and does play an integral part within the appeals process if you've gotten a denial. So that's enough about me, and I'm going to throw it back to you, Leah.
Yeah, so we're going to pop up this really awesome FAQ sheet that Garren and I found and kind of go over some of those, because in a nutshell, this FAQ sheet that we have, which I'm going to link in the comments here for you guys to go over later, it really comprehensively covers a lot of the low-hanging fruit that we think may be important for you all to have a good understanding of, or at least a little bit of insight to. So also, before I forget, I want to mention that my good friend Garren has an awesome podcast, American Warrior Radio. And I have had a wonderful opportunity to be a guest on it before. And I highly encourage you guys to subscribe to that. And I will also place a link to that in the description of this video.
Well, thank you, Leah. Yes, American Warrior Radio Show has been in existence since 2009. We had a reboot recently. That's why we added the word show, because somebody grabbed American Warrior Radio. It's all about, we're all volunteers. Nobody's making a paycheck at AVET Project. AVET Appeals is different. That's the business side. But American Warrior Radio is the same. It's about getting good information out there. So I appreciate you mentioning that and sharing the link, because this is how we help one another. We get the information. If we use it ourselves, great. Maybe we know somebody that might apply to, and we forward it to them. So yes, very much appreciated. And thank you for your appearance on AWR, American Warrior Radio. Hopefully we'll have you again, because you always have something very interesting to share.
You're so sweet. So also, before we jump in, we're going to do another video separately, but Garren's also involved heavily in an AVET Project, which is a nonprofit that helps veterans and their family members just with a slew of different things. So again, I don't want to bog down this conversation, but we're going to do another video about AVET Project and some of the awesome opportunities people have to volunteer, and just different things that veterans can get involved with AVET Project. So
sounds good, Leah. So getting to the AMA.
Yes.
If somebody has been denied, they submitted an application to the VA with evidence, maybe it was well grounded, maybe it wasn't. They get a decision, a rating decision back from the VA, and it's a denial. They didn't get what they asked for. Now, what do I do? That's where the AMA and the slides that Leah is going to put up come into play, because there is redress with the VA. It's not one and done. As I'm sure Leah has told you in the past, when you get something from the VA, if it doesn't look positive, you throw it in the trash. No, don't do that, because there's always timelines that you have to adhere to. Now, what Leah has brought up is a FAQ sheet that she found, and it's there. As I always say, Leah, anything and everything you want to know about the VA is at va.gov. It's just an ocean of information. The issue is trying to identify and pick out the piece that applies to your situation. So this FAQ is spot on. See, you know, even a blind squirrel finds a nut once in a while, and the VA did a great job with this synopsis. As you look on that very first page, right towards the bottom, and this is on page 1, see there's those, what are they called? QR scan codes?
Yeah, QR codes.
QR codes. Take your phone, you can do it right now, and click on those. It's going to expand that and tell you more about each of these lanes. We're not going to talk about legacy appeals because Leah and I just attended a Nova conference, and they shared a lot of information about legacy appeals and how they're trying to whittle that down. There's still many, many thousands left. But under the AMA, these are the options you have now. Again, you were denied a benefit from the VA. You haven't engaged a professional medical provider like Prestige Veterans yet, or Leah, but you want to know what your next step is. If you look at the higher level review, we can just break this down right now. That's when you think you were wronged. You think the VA made an error in fact or law. You read the decision, the narrative portion of the decision, and you disagree, or you see that maybe the citation they quoted, 38 CFR section 4.16, wasn't applicable to you, or maybe they didn't even cite that and use it in their deliberations before they promulgated the decision. And I don't want to get too legal here, but look, an HLR is very simple. It's you as the claimant. That could be a veteran, a surviving spouse, something along those lines. Select this option, and it even gives you the form number there. Does it? I think it's on the last.
I think it does a little bit further down on this FAQ sheet.
Because listen, now that the Appeals Modernization Act is in full force, forms for everything. Leah, I'm sure you know this. In the past, you could have written a claim on a cocktail napkin and sent it to the VA, and they had an obligation, a duty to assist you in developing that claim. Not so anymore. If you don't file the correct form, let's say this HLR, they're going to send it back to you and say, well, you have to do it on the correct form. So be it. It streamlines it, I guess. It standardizes it. Well, the HLR is, hey, you made a decision and you denied me because you made that denial because you didn't look at the facts correctly, talking to the VA, or you misinterpreted or misapplied or didn't apply at all the law. So that's you as the claimant going back to the VA saying, hey, here's the issue I identified, reconsider. That's it. You throw it back to the VA as an HLR, higher level review. That means a senior ratings officer is going to look back through the record and see if what you said is correct and whether they can change the outcome and hopefully be favorable to you. They're going to issue you a decision. It's all kind of informal. You can even have a hearing. You can have an informal hearing at an HLR. That's where they set up a time and date. There's no transcript to this, like a Board of Veterans Appeals decision, but they set up a date. You communicate, I'm sure, telephonically, through the video, what have you. You talk back and forth to this senior rating veteran service representative and maybe add something to the conversation. You cannot add evidence. An HLR is very specific. It's you identified an error in fact or law, and you can elect an informal conference where you speak to the person that's actually going to make the decision. And Leah, I'm sure you know, that's kind of important. It's always nice to put a face to a name and kind of personalize the entire process. So HLR is not a bad selection if you don't have any additional evidence to provide and you just want a new decision based on an error in fact or law, and you can have that informal conference meeting with the rating specialist. Does that make sense? Do you think people are going to understand that, Leah?
Yeah, totally. I think as you mentioned, the key to this one is not adding new additional evidence. It's just a relook at what they already have submitted to identify you know, was there an error? Can we get a new set of eyes on this? Hey guys, it's Leah B. I just wanted to add to the end of this little video and splice this in because we made this video with Garren Cone and it was so fantastic. I decided to split it up into 3 different segments because it just got to be so long and helpful. We just got kind of on a roll with the things we were discussing. So please stay tuned to our next video, which is going to be on supplemental claims, and then one following that on appeals to the board. So I hope you guys enjoyed this and thanks for watching.